You know what, I get the question a lot, I don't know about you, Rich, but is karate Christian? And this is a typical question, you know, well, is that really Christian? And then you try to relate it to, you know, where is it in the Bible, or you know, is that God's will, or, you know, you try to, is that really, you know, are you putting that before God, or, you know, things like that. And what's your take on that? Is Kung Fu Christian, because we're talking, you know, or Tai Chi, or some of the things that you teach, is it Christian?
It isn't. I mean, it isn't. And neither is, I think you've said this before, neither is pizza. I mean, and that's about as much relevance.
Yeah. I like pizza, though.
So do I. Although I can't eat gluten anymore. So
yeah, I know, you got to watch out.
Yeah, but
it's fattening.
Yeah, but that's about how relevant it is. I mean, martial arts are a way of a given group of people to learn to adapt to a specific environment. It's involved in natural law, and natural law is recognized throughout the Bible. Okay, it is not involved in the spiritual realm as far as theology or anything like that. Now, it's not if it's being taught properly. I mean, a lot of people get into the New Age movement and they superimpose a number of things over their training, and you can get a teacher that's teaching you almost anything, I guess. But when we talk about secular schools, I mean, most good secular schools aren't trying to undermine anyone's religion. That's just the truth. I mean, they're not.
Yeah.
You know, they're just kind of neutral. And in this particular service that we're providing,
Rich, you have to admit that they do favor, a lot of times they do favor the wisdom from Eastern philosophies as well.
Well, because, yeah, of where martial arts came from.
Yeah,
Yes.
Absolutely.
But, you know, even a lot of the Eastern, like, for instance, my arts come from the Taoist arts. And Taoism is misunderstood. Taoism is so misunderstood because it's not a religion. Taoism is not a religion. Now, Buddhism is, okay?
Yeah.
But Taoism was not a religion. It's a understanding of natural law as it occurs. So it's just not comparing apples to apples.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It
I
really,
understand, yeah.
it has nothing to do with your spirituality. It has to do with how you adapt to your environment.
I think the key point is what I try to tell people in reference to karate or martial arts being Christian or not, and I agree with you that no, in essence it's not. It's not Christian. And Jesus didn't come up and say everybody do kung fu.
Yeah. No.
He didn't do that. But the one thing that is in the Bible, and I believe it comes from Colossians, and escapes me exactly what verse it is, but it says that you do everything to the glory of God. That everything you do, no matter what it is, you do to the glory of God. And whether that be, you know, at your job, working, you know, supporting your family, whether that be outside in your garden, you know, doing your vegetables, working on your vegetable garden or whatever. Whatever it is, you do it to the best of your ability, and you do it with joy, you know, being a Christian. And so, you know, the key point is, are we giving God the glory, or are we taking credit for it? And second of all, are we putting God first? You know, do we love God with all? You know, the two commandments of Christ: do we love God with all our might, right? And do we love our neighbor? You know, and if we're not doing that, then we're not being Christians, number one, and whatever we do isn't really Christian either, right? But if we are doing that, then guess what? Everything else we do is Christian. You know, we have Christian gardening. We're working in our garden. Why? Because we give God the glory. We pray. We work within the Father's will, right? We now have a Christian garden because a Christian did it. Christian music. Is music Christian? No. But can music be Christian? Yes. Right? Because Christians make music. And if they do it with glorifying God, doing it the right way, then we have Christian music. Correct?
Yes, correct. And you know, as a more practical matter of history and tradition again, you know, because we look at karate and having a Shinto background, coming
Yeah.
from Okinawa and so forth, and we look at maybe jujitsu as having a Buddhist background, okay? But it should be said that martial arts like Sistema, that comes from Russia and comes from an Orthodox Christian background, when we look at the principles of natural law as they're expressed in that art, they're very, very similar, if not exactly the same, as the martial arts of Tai Chi and Bagua and from China, you know, that were Taoist, okay? And you know, I'm sure that if you look at some of the other arts in other Christian areas, you'll find the same, you know. The fencing that we see in Spain had a lot in common with some of the fencing that you saw in China, okay? The Chinese, the Tai Chi fencing, okay? So the way that they move, the way that they express themselves, the tactics on the battlefield, a lot of these things, because they're involved in natural law, they were the same. So in that regard, the expression of natural law is non-denominational,
Yeah, yeah.
you know.
And of course, putting Christ first, then it becomes Christian.
Then it becomes Christian.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly, that's
If-
the point I was trying, yeah.
That's the point, and that's a good point. I mean, that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing that's different.
Yeah.
Okay, it should be said that the martial arts that we're teaching are no different. The only thing maybe is a little bit different is we've delved in and looked at areas where Christian martial arts have developed, and we've synthesized some of those techniques into our fighting abilities and styles. But the martial arts that we're teaching, the actual art itself, is no different than you know, somebody teaching it that's coming from a Buddhist background.
Yeah.
You know, but what we put into it, why a person